Hi there, Kristen here. I just realized I forgot my mic. There we go. I bet the sound just improved a little bit. Hi. See one person on. How's it going? I'm gonna give it a couple minutes to get some more people on. Oh, hi, Jen. You're always on. It's good to see you. It's late for you too, so I'm glad you're still on. I'm gonna do my little intro. So, hi, I am Kristen. My channel is called From Chronic Fatigue to Chronic Abundance. I named it that because I share how to live with very severe chronic fatigue and use the healing mindset to start improving your quality of life today. Whatever the reason, whatever the cause for your severe chronic fatigue, what I share are the emotional and mental and mindset tools that helped me heal from severe chronic fatigue 3 times. Each time I healed, I needed different practitioners, different people, different treatments, different supplements, different doses to heal, okay? But every time I healed faster because I figured out the healing mindset piece of it. And that's what I'm sharing here. What I think is really important to everybody. The one thing that I think truly is one size fits all is the healing mindset. There is no treatment protocol that's going to heal all of us magically. If there was, we'd know what it is by now, right? The healing mindset facilitates you on your healing journey because, as I've discovered myself, we all have different needs, and we're going to need to discover what our body needs to heal. And that's a hard journey to be on. It takes a lot of perseverance, a lot of grit, a lot of motivation. It's a very hard journey. There's a lot of sadness. There's a lot of grief. There's guilt. There's frustration. There's anger. All those things are natural and healthy things to feel. However, they can drain us and prevent us from reaching our healing goals as quickly as we'd like to. And what I teach is how to manage those emotions so we're not wasting our precious energy on them, and instead using that energy to take us forward. All right. So we got a couple people on. I do these lives where you can ask any questions you have around living with severe chronic fatigue. Nothing is too tough. Nothing is too wimpy. Nothing is too taboo to talk about. I've gone through a lot in all the years I was living with very severe chronic fatigue, and I am happy to talk about just about anything relating to it. So leave your questions here. And the lives let us have a little dialogue. So you can ask a question, I can start to answer it. More questions come in, other people can start supporting you on the call. We get this really great conversation happening. And I think that's why these lives are great. And that's why I'm doing these instead of the rehearsed, practiced, edited videos that I used to post. So, all right. So while people are getting their questions written up, I was going to do a little update. So Jim asked how work has been. Well, let's see. So I'd mentioned a few weeks ago that I'd interviewed for this role, and the company still hasn't gotten back to me. They're still trying to figure out what they're doing on their end, whether they're going to try to hire one person for the thing or break it into multiple pieces, and what piece would I take. And, they just have a lot of internal business decisions around how they want to structure the company. And I'm waiting to hear back on that. They would love to work with me. We've just got to figure out how that would happen and if now is the right time. It might not be. I wouldn't take it personally. It's okay. Hi, Lisa. Another big update is I got a nice haircut. I'm really excited about this. I just got my haircut yesterday, and I'm so excited to have like layers and all the fun stuff instead of just like long, straight, boring hair. One thing you guys probably don't know is that I used to have a pixie haircut. And if you don't know what a pixie haircut, it's the one that's super, super short. Like I had like no hair, like boy cut in the back and like big bangs and the whole so cool and edgy thing. And I've been growing my hair out for about 5 years. And this has been a lot of effort to get my hair to this length. So to cut some of it off again has been a big deal for me. Just a fun little tidbit about me. Wolf whistle. Lisa, thanks guys. And another really big update that you guys might appreciate even if you've been watching a lot of my videos and been on my lives, you know that I am a really big fan of meditation. It's something that helped me out of my health crisis. It was something that began my first recovery from severe chronic fatigue. And it's something I still have in my life just about daily. I'm not 100% good with it, but most days I'm meditating in the morning before I do anything else. And to take my meditation journey further and to take my own personal growth journey further, kind of an extension of the healing mindset, bringing the healing mindset into a life of health, I had applied to a 10-day silent meditation retreat several months ago. And it's the third time I've tried to apply to one of these retreats. They're really amazing because they're free. They're entirely run by volunteers. The only way you can pay them for the experience is after you go through a full 10-day retreat. And I think that's beautiful because the entire practice is only supported by money from people who have gone through it and seen huge benefits. And also the volunteers are people who have gone through it and have seen huge benefits. And this isn't like a for-profit enterprise. This is literally just people seeing amazingly huge benefits from doing these silent 10-day retreats and wanting to help other people experience that. So that's how you know it's legit. And the first 2 times I applied, I just didn't get accepted. I was on the wait list and I just never got to the point where I got in. And last night I found out that I got in. So it starts in early September, just about a half hour away from where I live. So there'll be 10 days in September where I'm silent. I'm not on the channel because I'll be at this retreat. And it's pretty terrifying, but also really exciting just to spend 10 days in silence. Just meditating. I just have to eat what they feed me, which isn't much. They have a guide I can talk to once a day. I'm not allowed to exercise. We're not allowed to wear any scents. We're not allowed to wear tight clothing. It all has to be just loose, comfortable stuff. It's a really, really big deal. And, whatever comes out of that for me, I'm totally looking forward to sharing that with you guys. So that's a really, really big thing going on for me. And I'm sharing that also because I want to share with you guys how much I am dedicated to meditation as a useful part of my life. Because I hope to inspire more of you to do more of your own meditation. Yeah. Lisa was just meditating. Yay. And Jim was doing something similar, a little Tai Chi. Yeah, Tai Chi, they call it moving meditation because it can get you into that meditative state of mind. It can get you into that flow. It can get you into that blank space, into that full presence. That's great. And Tai Chi, for some people, Tai Chi, that can be a great way of getting movement and exercise in when you have severe fatigue, if it fits within your energy envelope, because it is movement and it's very deliberate and it combines that meditative practice. So Jim, I love that you are doing Tai Chi and that you have the ability to do Tai Chi, that it fits into your energy. It's great. Let's see. All right, guys. I was racking my brain today for some prepared topic, and I just didn't come up with anything, unfortunately. So I was really going to lean on you guys for questions today and hope that was going to lead the conversation. In the meantime, actually, something just came to mind. Love when this happens. It was, I think Emmy Action sent out an email earlier this week. Let's see, on August 8th. So 5 days ago at this point? I guess it was last Friday. It was declared to be, okay, so August 8th was the Severe ME Day of Understanding and Remembrance. And it was started in response to the death of a woman named Sophia Mirza. And I see August 8th was Sophia's birthday. So Emmy Action sent out this great email about a lot of other people who are still living with very severe, we're talking extremely severe. I mean, people who are bedbound, people who can't tolerate light or sound, really the worst of the worst. And they have some really interesting quotes from these people that they shared. They have some stories that they've shared. And I think I want to drop the link in for you guys if you want to read it, because one thing that was always good for me when I was still ill was to remember that other people are going through this and to be able to show compassion for others who are in a similar situation. It creates a sense of community and belonging when you're reminded that you're not alone. So I know that there was a link to an article in here because, oh, here we go. Here's the stories link. I think this is the really interesting one. So I'll just drop this in the comments here as something you can, oh, it's not letting me post a link. Okay, YouTube isn't letting me share a link. Oh, because the link URL is too long. That's why it won't let me do it. Let me see if I can shorten this. It's too many characters. This should work. Yeah, that should work. Okay. Stories about people living with really severe ME, as told by themselves. I don't agree with everything ME Action does, but I really like how they give people with severe ME a platform to use their voices, to be heard, because that's one of the hardest things, is feeling isolated and feeling like you don't get to have a say in things anymore. And they do a good job of putting those people front and center from time to time. And I think it's also very empowering to be reminded that people care about what you think. So it's another reason to go check out the stories. Awesome. All right. What else is going on? What else is new? What questions do you guys have? Let's see. I always just, my mind typically defaults to story mode, and I always kind of shy away from story mode, but I guess I'll go into story mode today until I have some questions. Oh, hi, Stacy. I don't think I've seen you on my live streams before. Welcome. I'm here to answer any questions you have around living with severe chronic fatigue. Nothing is too tough, difficult, taboo, off topic, or anything like that. Let's see. Okay, I'll start with Stacy. What has helped me the most with healing? Okay, Stacy. So at the beginning of this video, which you can't watch until this is done, I went through my intro and I talked about what I talk about on this channel and why. So I talk about the healing mindset on this channel because I think that's what helps the most. So for my background, I had started going through really severe chronic fatigue 9 years ago. Oh my gosh, 9 years ago. July 2010 was the first time I collapsed from severe fatigue. And when I was 26, and then it was a really quick descent over 6 months from being like a healthy, high achieving, like super fit 26-year-old to like feeling like I was in an 80-year-old's body. I was so ill. I was sleeping 14 hours a day. I had to quit my job. I couldn't work out, obviously. I couldn't walk down the street without getting winded. The doctors all said there was nothing wrong with me, that typical stuff. And over the course of the past 9 years, I've healed and I've relapsed with severe chronic fatigue a couple times. So I've actually, some people take issue with the word healed, but I use the word healed from severe chronic fatigue 3 times, meaning super, super ill, not able to work, vastly limited in my abilities, mostly housebound, back to having a full life, working full time, working out again, having a social life the whole time, three times. And every time I healed, I needed different doctors, needed practitioners. I needed different supplements. I needed different doses. I needed different treatments to heal. Okay. So I'm one person And even though I'm one person, I needed different things to heal every single time. All right. And we know that there's no one size fits all solution for healing us from severe chronic fatigue. What it taught me is that we each have our own journey to go on. We're each going to need different things and different people to help us heal. And we have to find out what those things are. And what helps us find out what those things are is a healing mindset. The healing mindset is what helps us retain most of our energy every day. It's what gives us motivation. It's what gives us hope. It's how we keep going when things are so hard. What the healing mindset teaches you to do is, instead of wasting so much of your energy on feeling frustrated and guilty and lost and confused and disbelieved and like all those painful negative feelings, they're all natural feelings and they're fine to feel, but what they're doing is they're robbing us of more of our energy. We already have so little energy every day that it's a shame to waste it on those negative emotions. When we learn how to manage those emotions, we're saving ourselves energy, and we have so much more energy to put into our healing journey. Okay, so I think the number one thing is the healing mindset. And that's what I talk about in these live streams. And that's what I talk about in all my past videos. I have almost 100 videos on YouTube, and I welcome you to go back and start watching those to learn more about what I think is the most helpful for healing from severe chronic fatigue, because it's what I've used myself several times. So, oh, Stacey, caffeine. Caffeine is a tough one. You know, I think for a lot of people, caffeine becomes a crutch, and it actually helps make things worse. And I know it's so hard to think about living without caffeine, but that's one of the first things you actually need to do, because what caffeine is doing is it's enabling you to push yourself harder than you need to be. And it's actually digging that hole deeper. And I know that sounds terrifying. I'm someone who actually genetically doesn't tolerate caffeine. So I've never really been someone who can rely on caffeine, which is actually a little bit of a blessing, because I feel like I would have pushed myself harder for longer and gotten sicker if I had been able to rely upon caffeine. So, you know, I know it's a scary thought, but if you can just start cutting back on that and just allowing yourself to feel that tiredness, what it's going to do is it's going to get you in touch with your body a little bit better, and you're going to understand your tiredness a little bit more. And it'll help you connect to your body's feedback. As you start looking for what works for you and what doesn't, you're going to be able to feel your body's feedback more closely, which helps you get along your healing journey faster. You can't wake up till at least 2 cups. That's a lot of coffee. That's hard every day. Excuse me. Yeah. Getting off, let's see. So for someone who doesn't know anything about the healing journey, and even for someone who does, you know, I think in addition to the healing journey, there are a few foundational things. And these are things that are good for health, no matter how sick or how healthy you are. You know, cutting back on caffeine is a really good one. And what helps with cutting back on caffeine, not that it'll heal you, Stacey, because if this is all you needed, I'm sure you'd be better by now. But one thing that's foundational is getting enough sleep and having really good sleep habits and really good sleep hygiene. And this is something I have nerded out on a lot over the past several years. What is good sleep hygiene? And then how do I establish those good, healthy sleep habits in my life every single day, right? It's one thing to know what sleep hygiene is, and it's another thing to actually live by it, because it's kind of a drag. I mean, the basics of good sleep hygiene are go to bed at about the same time every night, 7 days a week. You know, if you have like a job that prevents that, that's one thing that's understandable. But the more consistent you are with your bedtime, your body's going to know when to get tired, and it's going to help regulate and even out all your other hormones. All right. So like when you're going to bed at different times, you're going to bed like super late, like past the time when you start to get tired, your cortisol cycle wants to be on a regular 24-hour cycle, and it can't be when you're doing all those other things. So your hormones go out of whack. Your cortisol goes out of whack. Your cortisol gets high. It affects, especially as a woman, it affects your other female hormones. So everything is thrown off by having irregular bedtimes and super late bedtimes. So go to bed, same time, let's say like a half hour window. Like for me, it's like 10 to 10:30 is when I like to be asleep. Lately, it's been more like 10:30 to 11, which is like me kind of wiggling it, but at least it's consistent. And then try to wake up at the same time every morning or close to it. Or even better, just don't have an alarm and just let yourself sleep until you wake up. If you go to bed early enough, this is something that you can do. And it's actually how I function. I don't use an alarm in the mornings. I just know when I'm going to wake up because my sleep's so dialed in. If you can sleep in a dark room, like cover any electronics that are in the room, put like masking tape over it or something, make sure there's no light, get blackout shades in your windows, minimize noises as much as you can, or get a white noise machine. So there's like a base level of just kind of like random noise in the room. That can be really helpful for sleep. And the colder it is in your bedroom, the better. Get some really good blankets and get it super freezing in there. And you'll be amazed at how that changes, how deeply you sleep. Yeah. So I would never tell anyone just to go off caffeine. I would also tell someone to get their sleep dialed in at the same time, because getting your sleep right is going to help. It's not all you need to get over severe chronic fatigue. I'm not saying that that's the only thing anyone needs, but it will help. All right. It gets your body onto a regular cycle. And instead of using all this energy, with your hormones going out of whack and the body trying to regulate those, everything's just even and predictable. And your body has a little bit of energy left over to work on healing. It could have been worse, Stacey. It could have been Coke. Yeah, it could have been Coke. You guess you have a lot of addictions. Yeah, I mean, maybe if that's how you frame it, if that's how it feels, maybe it is something that you feel like you're addicted to, and maybe you do legitimately feel like you need it. I can understand feeling like you need it to function. Like clearly you need 2 cups to wake up, and it sounds like your life would be very negatively impacted if you were to just stop those things cold turkey. So we don't want to just stop things that are keeping you functioning. What we want to do is we want to start cutting out the things that aren't helping as much. We want to add in things that are going to help. It's not just about taking away. It's about adding in and focusing on those things that are going to give you more energy as well. Your CT wakes you up at 6 a.m. What's CT? CT wakes me up at 6 a.m. So much love in the comments here, guys. I love it. Sorry, did I just now hear white noise? White noise. Oh, your cat. Your cat wakes you up in the morning. Cat wants to eat, huh? Yeah. So the big thing would be trying to go to bed at a time that allows you to wake up at 6 a.m. Like I like to wake up at 6 a.m. And I often do without an alarm. So what I would do is I would suggest trying to go to bed around 10 or 10:30 p.m. the night before. Like get yourself so you're falling asleep by 10 or 10:30 p.m. the night before, and that gives you 7.5 to 8 hours of sleep before your cat wakes you up at 6 a.m. if that's like the defining factor in your sleep schedule. So white noise is like the noise of like TV static, like. Or if you get white noise machines, what they're doing is they're just kind of making like a wind noise. It's just a background noise. There's no patterns, no coherence in it. It's just something that adds to the noise level in the room and can mask other noises. But it's really easy for your brain to just tune it out as something that's unimportant. It's kind of repulsive, guys. I don't understand that. You need to walk more too, but you have a heat intolerance and you get excessive sweat. Okay. So, a couple interesting things there, Stacey. It's easy to say that you need to walk more. A lot of people say like, oh, if you're tired and you have chronic fatigue, then you should get more exercise. But for a lot of us, the more exercise we do, the more exhausted we get, okay? And I don't know your specific situation. This is something you're gonna have to gauge for yourself, but do your walks leave you feeling, do you feel okay at the end of the walk, or do your walks leave you feeling more exhausted for the next 24 hours? All right, that's a question to ask yourself and something to watch out for. After I go for a walk, how does my body feel for the next 24 hours? Sore is okay. Feeling like you need a nap is okay. But feeling even more exhausted, even more fatigued to the point where sleep doesn't make you feel any better for the next 24 to 48 hours after that walk, then it means that walking probably isn't something you should be doing. That sensation of being more fatigued by exercise is called post-exertional malaise, if you want to Google that. And it's almost like a hallmark of ME and some other severe chronic fatigue conditions. And it actually means that you've done too much exercise. Even if you're just walking, it means you've done too much exercise for your body and your health where it's at today, and it means you need to do less. So I'll leave that to you to figure out if you feel like it's just hard to walk or if the walks are too much for your body. And heat intolerance is another big hallmark of living with severe chronic fatigue. I think we talked about this on a live stream 2 or 3 weeks ago. If you want to go back and watch some of those. When I was very ill, I had severe heat intolerance as well, also severe cold intolerance, excuse me. If I got too hot, my body wouldn't even sweat. Like my sweat functions didn't work. I would just get extremely ill. I would get extremely fatigued and just feel awful if I got too hot or too cold, to the point where I had become terrified of being too hot or too cold because of how hard it was on my body, because of how much more fatigued it made me. So the sign that you're sweating is actually a really good one. It means your sweat functions are working. But I would pay attention to that heat intolerance because that is a common symptom. And you actually don't want to get too hot because it can mean you're pushing your body too hard. It can mean that your body's needing too much energy to keep yourself cool. All right. So just kind of track those things, note them as symptoms, and then try to find other ways to get movement that doesn't fatigue you, and try to do it in a way that doesn't leave you too hot or too cold. Easier said than done, I know, but we're here if you want some additional support around that. Yeah, if you walk more than 20 minutes, you get fatigued a lot. So if 20 minutes is kind of your cutoff, what I would do is I'd recommend walking just for 10 or 15. Stop walking before you get too fatigued, because that means you're going to have a little bit of energy left over for yourself. Yeah. So this is what the healing mindset is about. It's about taking the same situations that you're in and just showing you a way to approach them that is promoting of your health. Because I know, especially when we first get ill, or when we've been stuck talking to normal people and normal doctors, we're in this mindset of oh, this is what everyone says to do for these problems. Let me do these things, and they're not working for me. So there's something wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with you. The problem is everyone means really well, and everyone thinks they're telling you what's going to help you, but they don't understand the situation you're in. They don't understand your symptoms, and they don't understand what it takes for you to heal. And I'm here to share with you a little bit of what you need to hear, which is what actually works. The fact that exercise can make severe chronic fatigue worse, especially if you have ME or fibromyalgia or any other autoimmune condition. That exercising less can be better for you, can leave you with more energy, that sleep is more important for us than it is for other people. Things like that. Things like your regular doctors don't know. Regular people don't know about what we're living with. Oh, I love you too, Stacy. All right, let's see. We're coming up on half an hour. I can get 1 or 2 more questions in if you guys have them. Yeah. Let's see. Otherwise, yeah, you have fibro as well. It's super common to have multiple conditions. I have autoimmune hypothyroidism, also called Hashimoto's hypothyroidism. Cool thing, I saw my doctor last week, and actually maybe I shared this in last week's video, but my antibodies continue to go down over time, meaning I am actually healing my body from my autoimmune condition, which is awesome. It means my body's not attacking my thyroid as much as it used to be, meaning the damage is slowing and that I'm slowly bouncing back from that even, which is exciting. It's taken years. Doesn't happen overnight, but it is happening slowly, which is great. All right, guys, we're at the half-hour mark. Oh, thanks, Stacy. Yeah, and I wish I had a quick soundbite for what it takes to heal from hypothyroidism, but all I can tell you is it takes years of the healing mindset and working with doctors and blood work and supplements and treatments and living my life around my health and just accepting my limitations when I have them and continuing to do those things even after I get healthy back. I get my health back. I get healthy. That's what I meant to say, one of those two, and I said them both. So yeah, and the healing mindset, I think, helps with that acceptance of, oh, this is going to take a while. Okay. All right. That's really hard and frustrating, but I'm in it for the long haul because all the work is worth it. I promise the work is worth it. All right, guys, on that note, sending you love and health as always. Bye.